Hi everyone, it is our last beeswax video before we go to school next week, I'm pretty sure. That's exciting. You were given just 2 little pieces of beeswax today. For today. You were given a large pink piece and a smaller green piece. So don't forget to take the plastic off your pink and your green. We'll be using both of them today, mainly just the pink. We'll use a little touch of the green for maybe some detail. While you're doing that, I will play you our little beeswax song. Okay, so you have your beautiful pink beeswax in the palm of your hand and your little green one somewhere else that's warm, maybe under your arm. Hold it in the palm of your hand and say our verse. From the bees, this gift of gold is here for us to warm and hold. Fragrant beeswax in our hand is full of goodness from the land. I have a special story for you today. It is a little favourite of mine. It's by an author called Elsa Besco, and it is called Rosalind and the Little Deer. Now you may or may not have heard this earlier in the year or last year, but nonetheless, you can always hear stories more than once. I can hear this one many times. So we'll start with the story. Remember to keep your beeswax in the palm of your hand and nice and warm. Rosalind and the Little Deer. There was once a little girl whose father liked to paint pictures. One day, she found him in the garden looking sad. "Why are you sad, grandfather?" she asked. "I had to stop painting so the maid could clean my room." "You could paint a picture book for me," said the girl. "What about?" asked the grandfather. "About a little deer." "Will you think of the words?" he asked. "I already know the first line," she replied. "A little deer was grazing in the meadow underneath the flowering linden tree." "Is the book about a little girl too?" asked the grandfather. "Yes, her name is Rosalind," his granddaughter replied. "Sit down next to me and let's begin," he said. And so they made this book together. A little deer was grazing in the meadow underneath the flowering linden tree. In the grass, Rosalind lay sleeping, and the warm summer breeze blew softly. Out of the wood came a hunter with his dog, and they scared the little deer away. "Where is my little deer?" said Rosalind, waking up. "Do dry your tears," said the hunter. "We will find you another deer. Come, boy." And he called his dog. "No," Rosalind said. "Please don't catch another. I need to find my friend." "By the feather on my green hat," said the hunter, "I promise to bring back your deer." And off into the wood they went, through sharp thorn thickets. The dog could smell foxes and hares, but he couldn't find the little deer. A long way away in a castle there lived an old king. He was picking apples when a little deer jumped over the fence. "What a lovely creature," he said. "I'll keep it in a cage." He found a glistening golden cage and he locked the deer away. But the little deer missed her friend Rosalind, and she longed for the shade of her linden tree. The king offered her fine food and wine, but she refused to eat. "She isn't feeling well," he told the queen. "We must fetch the doctor right away." Still the little deer refused to eat. The king put up a sign offering a sack of gold coins to anyone who could feed the little deer. People came from far and wide with tasty treats, but still the little deer refused to eat. Soon the hunter and his dog reached the king's castle. The dog began to bark and ran up to the cage where the little deer lay. In the king's lands, it was forbidden to let a dog run free, so the hunter and the dog were thrown into a deep, dark dungeon. Did you see the sign that said, "All dogs must be kept on a lead"? The clever hunter wrote a note to Rosalind, using charcoal from the fire. "Follow me to your little deer," said the letter. He tied the letter to the dog's fur and lifted it through the window. "Run quickly like the north wind," he said, "and fetch Rosalind." When the dog appeared, Rosalind quickly read the letter. She picked some linden flowers, took her hat and walking stick, and hurried after the dog. When they reached the castle, she stood shyly by the kitchen door. "How do you do? My name is Rosalind. Where is my little deer?" she asked. "That deer won't eat food from a silver plate," said the cook. "And you want to offer it flowers? Join the queue." A baker had come with some delicious pastries. But the little deer lay in the cage, silent and still. Then suddenly she leaped up like the wind. She heard Rosalind's voice and she smelled the flowers from her linden tree. She jumped into Rosalind's arms and ate up all the flowers happily. A grand fanfare sounded. "The little deer has been fed." The king rushed outside. He handed Rosalind the sack of coins. "Thank you, young lady," he said. "Here is your reward." "No, thank you," said Rosalind firmly. "This is my deer." "I beg your pardon," replied the king. "Who dares to speak to me like this? I caught this little deer myself and locked it in this cage. Take the coins and leave." "I will not sell my little deer," said Rosalind. "What are you thinking, little girl?" warned the visitors. "The king will lock you in the dungeon. Run away while you can." "I will," said Rosalind, "if I can take my little deer." At first the king locked Rosalind in the dungeon. The little deer was locked in its cage. "Eat, little deer, go on," said the king, but the little deer again refused to eat. "All right, release the girl from the dungeon," said the king grumpily. "Let her live in the cage with the deer so that it doesn't die." It was midday, and the sun was shining. Rosalind and the little deer were in their cage. The king and his court were having a nap. Even the guard was fast asleep. Along came the hunter with his dog, freed from the dungeon at last. He quickly broke the cage's lock and set his poor friends free. Far away from the king's dark dungeon and golden cage, by the flowering linden tree, the hunter played a happy song. Rosalind danced with her little deer, and the warm summer breeze blew softly on them all. So what are we going to make today? You've probably guessed that we are going to make the little deer. The picture that I think would be most simple for us to design is the little deer sitting, so that you don't have to do those long legs. If you would like to do those long legs and challenge yourself, you're more than welcome. However, I'm going to do the deer sitting down. And I don't have a model to show you before the fact because I didn't have enough beeswax. We had the perfect amount for everyone in the class to have one piece, including me. So here's the deer turning away, but it's that kind of sitting position. However, we'll have the deer looking forwards so that she's nice and comfortable. So getting your beautiful pink, we are going to roll our pink into a ball. So if you could do that, by putting your pink into a ball, and we always start these animal figurines in that ball shape, and it's kind of where the body is. It's the body of our animal, and we draw from that the body that comes out this way, and the neck that comes out, and the little head. And as you draw out this way, there's going to be a little tiny tail on the end. So I'm going to make a sort of an egg shape, and then I'm going to start to draw up from here my neck, the neck of my little deer, and then the head. This all comes from the body. So my little deer has the pointiest of faces, sweet little pointy nose, and these sweet little ears that rise up. They're quite small, the little ears. You don't need much. And down by the body, you've got the little pointy nose. And then the body comes around. You've got to imagine that this body has legs underneath. We're going to give a glimmer of legs in a moment. But before that, I'm just going to do a little tail. And then you will see starting to give a gesture of these legs underneath, but nothing too much, just a little gesture. Got some whistlers in my house, and you can see that it's starting to come along, just sitting there, because you want your little deer to be able to be sitting nicely upon the ground. And there's my little legs. Hold it up. You can see it's starting to form. You can take your time with it and make it more and more shapely as you go. Now we have also, can I put it there? No, that doesn't work. We also have a little shrub to do. I thought we could do, I know that it's not going to quite be the length of the linden tree. It was all that we had. But we could do something tree-like, shrub-like. It gives us a sense that there's, or actually I'm thinking even we can do little bits of grass for our deer to be sitting by. So I'll show you. Just going to be putting little tiny bits of grass. Basically I'm putting the grass underneath, and it can pop up a little bit. She can be sitting even just upon the grass flat like that. Just making it flat. I'm just coming up with ideas now because we have this green and it'd be nice to use it. I'd love to see what ideas you come up with your little green. If it's just some grass for your beautiful deer to be sitting upon, or if it's just some even if you can make a tree or some sort of green flower. It's completely up to you how you use this green, beautiful green. And for me, I am going to be having just the grass that it sits upon. So when it's not on my book, still a bit soft, I can put it anywhere in my room, or in my lounge room, or on the kitchen table, the dining room table when I'm eating, and it can be just sitting there. So I will invite you to do whatever you would like with your beautiful green. I am sure that you will come up with creative ways, or you can just do what I did. Have fun creating your little deer, and don't get too lost in the detail. Just a little tuck of those legs underneath the body. Can't wait to see what you're able to create. Send me a photo through, just get your mum or dad to send me a photo. They know how to do it. And I will see you all soon. Bye.